It is not enough to say Black Lives Matter when your actions say something completely different.
Imagine your child has a chronic condition
with symptoms that include difficulty breathing,
vomiting,
diarrhea,
and itchy skin.
And this condition will never be overcome and will only worsen with time.
Now imagine that your child's suffering is caused entirely by an antiquated, unjust system.
What would you do?
The USDA mandates cow's milk in schools
to the detriment of over 50 million children.
Not only is milk the most common and severe food allergy
in children under 16,
over 1/3 of the US population is lactose intolerant.
Meaning at least 1 in 3 kids cannot safely or comfortably consume cow's milk.
And lactose intolerance disproportionately impacts BIPOC populations. Between 70 to 95% of Black,
Asian,
Indigenous Americans,
and Latinx individuals
suffer symptoms after consuming dairy.
Yet federal law requires milk to be served with school meals
in order for state public school authorities
to be reimbursed by the USDA for the meals provided. Pressuring children to ingest cow's milk at school that will make them sick isn't just ignorance.
When a white majority makes decisions that will negatively impact minorities, it is a special form of structural and systemic racism that is known as dietary racism.
Those unaffected,
mainly white people,
tend to view lactose intolerance as a minor issue, but that's almost certainly because it's not a shared health experience.
Lactose intolerance is not benign. It undermines learning and classroom performance
and puts kids of color at an additional disadvantage.
This is clearly a food justice issue that we have got to address now.
Pushing cow's milk so relentlessly to children who cannot digest it
while not offering an alternative
exposes the bias that rots at the core of our food systems.
They are designed to benefit commercial food producers, not our kids. I have to ask myself, would it ever be acceptable
to deliver a food staple to white children that 75 to 95% of them cannot digest?
Can you even imagine?
Of course not. That would never happen.
Wielding a $350 million annual marketing budget from the federal government,
the dairy industry uses ubiquitous slogans such as "milk does a body good"
in an attempt to convince children that they won't be healthy,
strong, or as successful unless they consume cow's milk.
It's inappropriate, it's divisive, it's misleading, and it's wrong.
The National School Lunch Program provided lunch to 30 million children each school day in fiscal year 2019.
The reimbursement rate for milk that year was 20.5 cents per carton.
If 90% of lunches were served with milk, the USDA spent about $1 billion on milk in the schools.
But a USDA analysis of the school lunch program found that 29% of the school milk cartons were thrown away by the kids. Why? Because many of them know if they drink that stuff, it will make them sick. I was a participant in the school lunch program when I was growing up, and I was forced to take the milk and it went right in the trash.
That's $300 million wasted every year.
This may be one of the most inefficient and wasteful programs run by our government in history.
But as bad as this is, the fact is it doesn't have to be this way.
In 2020, the U.S. dietary guidelines recognized soy milk as a nutritional equivalent to dairy milk.
But nutritional equivalency and cafeteria availability are not the same thing.
And public schools do not have soy milk available to children who need it the most.
To provide all students with a nutritional beverage that won't make them sick,
and to respect public schools' tight budgets,
the USDA needs to make soy milk readily available in all public schools, and it has to be fully reimbursable.
It is not enough to say Black Lives Matter when your actions say something completely different. And right now, the actions of the USDA show that they could not care less about the lives and health of children of color by clinging to an antiquated dairy-only milk policy.
Our nation is experiencing a reckoning.
It's not surprising that racism is embedded in our nutritional programs.
And here it is, right on the lunch trays of millions of children of color.
America needs to embrace its diversity.
Not just as a matter of rhetoric and economic opportunity,
but also in terms of nutritional and educational equality.
For the sake of our young people,
we look to you
to uphold the beauty and importance of this freedom from discrimination.
I'm a mother of 3 children. I'm also a doctor. I know the data. I want my kids to have healthy choices when they go to school.
The true beauty, power, and value of diversity is that we are stronger
and more powerful
when we
stand
together.
It's time we had equal milk for all.